Okay, they went for Flare Blitz into Lunala. It doesn't do too much into the boosted defense. And I get this Ivy Cudgel into Incineroar. Let's go. I don't think that crit was necessary. Time once again for VGC Legends. This is, of course, the series where I spin a wheel, get a random legendary Pokemon, quickly build a team around that legendary Pokemon, and give that team a try on the VGC Regulation I Best of One ladder on Pokemon Showdown. I do this for two reasons. One is just that I like legendary Pokemon. I've always appreciated their sort of role in the world of Pokemon as creatures of great mystery and power, and I want to give each of them their due. A lot of my favorite Pokemon are legendaries as well, so some of them are coming up as we go here. And second, by speed building a bunch of teams, some good, some bad, bunch of different playstyles, I get into weird, fun, in-game situations, and maybe I learn some things along the way. Not a whole lot more to say at this point. There are 25 legendaries remaining on the wheel. That's Pikachu's Pokedex number. I don't think that has any significance here, though, and we're just going to go ahead and spin the wheel and see what we get. We're going right back to the Loyal 3? Not quite. We are jumping from the Loyal 3 straight to their sworn enemy. It is finally time for the Kitakami Ogre herself. Let's take a look at Ogerpon. Okay, unless I'm forgetting something, I think Ogerpon is the only legendary in this series with 4 different forms, and as always, we will only be choosing one. The differences between the forms, there are 3 such differences. One, of course, is secondary type, if there is one at all. The other is the ability. We can see Teal Mask Ogerpon gets Defiant, Hearthflame gets Mold Breaker, Wellspring gets Water Absorb, and Cornerstone gets Sturdy. Cornerstone might be cut off for you, but it gets Sturdy. And of course, the stat that is boosted by the Embody Aspect ability after it terastallizes. Speed for Teal, Attack for Hearthflame, Special Defense for Wellspring, and Physical Defense for Cornerstone. What they have in common is, well, a big thing is Ivy Cudgel. They have pretty reasonable physical attacking stats, and Ivy Cudgel is a nice no-drawback physical attack, the type of which depends on the form of the Ogerpon using it, and it has that boosted crit rate as well. Notably, it is a 100 accuracy rock-type attack on Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Those are pretty rare. Ogerpon has some other physical coverage. It has other grass-type coverage for the forms for which Ivy Cudgel is not a grass-type attack. It gets Spiky Shield, which is a protect variant. Of course, it does a little bit of damage. The opponent goes for a contact move. And most notably, it gets Follow Me. And being a grass type with Follow Me is actually... Follow Me is already one of the best moves in the game, but being a grass type with Follow Me is especially strong because you can redirect spores from things like Amoonguss. Amoonguss is not affected by Rage Powder, but it is affected by Follow Me. And then, of course, Ogerpon is immune to the spore as long as it hasn't terastallized, or it's in its Teal Mask form. It stays grass type anyway. Also, Ogerpon's Terra type, it depends on its form, and you cannot change it, so there are only 4 possible Terra types, each one locked to one form. I think Teal Mask Ogerpon is a strong contender for this video. I don't have much experience with this form, but it's a very interesting one. It's the only one that gets to use another item besides a mask. So I could put a Choice Band, or Scarf, or Life Orb, or Clear Amulet, whatever I want on here. Probably not a Clear Amulet, because the other interesting thing about it is the ability Defiant. If I bait it in an Incineroar or something, I actually get an attack boost from it. And then, of course, with that and the speed boost from terastallizing, it could be kind of a menace. These stats are not as amazing in Reg I as they were in earlier formats, but Teal Mask Ogerpon, under the right circumstances, could definitely get rolling. Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon is another strong contender for this video. It gets an attack boost from terastallizing. Slap it on a Sun team. I mean, it's, I think, more commonly run on Miraidon stuff, but if I do slap it on a Sun team, that Fire-type Ivy Cudgel could hit very hard. That could be fun. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. I'm not feeling as much in this video. It's a good Pokemon. I used it at a regional back in Reg E. It was very strong then. Fallen off a little bit in higher power formats, but still get some play. And of course, I could boost the Ivy Cudgel with Rain, but I don't get the attack boost from terastallizing with this. Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon is nice to set up, to enable setup Pokemon. Like, you can pair it with Terapagos or something, Combine Terapagos, and then you Follow Me into Sturdy, so the opponent's attacks are redirected. There's a lot of spread damage in this format, but a lot of attacks are redirected, and they can't knock you out immediately, and also you can redirect a Spore and be immune to it. So that's the main utility of Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. I'm leaning teal, and I think Hearthflame is a strong contender as well. I think it's probably going to be one of those for this video. I think Top Cut Explorer is going to be fairly informative. I think probably at least 3 of these are going to show up, even if I just go to Bologna. I've realized at some point that you can't see the list, the drop-down list when I scroll through it here. But that is what I'm doing when I say, oh, this Pokemon was used. Oh, this one wasn't. Let's see what Ogerpon comes up first. Incineroar was the most used Pokemon in the top 256 at Bologna with 128 uses. It was on exactly half of the teams that are available here. Let's see what happens when we... Let's see how... Okay, the answer is Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon shows up first with 24 uses. Quarterstone Mask Ogerpon then gets 15. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon only 2. And unless I accidentally scrolled past it, I don't see Teal Mask Ogerpon. So it might be the one that's performing least in tournaments. Of course, I'm only looking at one tournament right now. That kind of makes me want to use it more. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, only 2 appearances. Both on Ice Rider teams. Okay, makes sense. Complementary type coverage, follow me support. Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Where was that? It was right here. This is a team sheet error. Its only ability is Sturdy. Mold Breaker is on the Hearthflame Mask form. Actually, let's isolate this one and see if they submitted the wrong form. I guess I don't know how I would know. They probably just put the wrong ability on the Cornerstone Mask one. Although it definitely could have been Hearthflame Mask on this team. Well, maybe they got team checked at some point and it got sorted out on the ground, who knows. Anyway, Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Almost all of these are Terrapagos teams. Well, a large majority of them. Actually, Shadow Rider Calyrex is the most frequent partner. And not that large a majority, 3/5 of them. But yeah, doing a lot to enable Terrapagos setup for sure. Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon. I actually thought Miraidon would be its most common restricted partner. I'm a little surprised to see Shadow Rider Calyrex here. You can see they run a few different grass coverage options. Grassy Glide is pretty solid on Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon because you can run it on a team with Rillaboom. And also like Incineroar and stuff, one of those cores. And so then you get the priority from the grassy terrain on your Grassy Glide on Rillaboom and Ogerpon. And you get the attack boost from terrestrializing Ogerpon. You can overwhelm some Pokemon with that. We see some Woodhammer, some Horn Leech. A lot of offensive teams here. Let me see if Teal Mask Ogerpon shows up at any of the other events. So Santiago. I see Cornerstone. Oh, there is one Teal Mask Ogerpon, also one Hearthflame. I don't think there was any Wellspring, unless I missed it. There's one Teal Mask Ogerpon here. Focus Sash. Makes sense. Follow Me and Knockoff, Taunt, Woodhammer. Why Woodhammer instead of Ivy Cudgel? I assume because they needed the extra power for something. Obviously, it's a little bit unintuitive with Focus Sash, especially because you're taking the recoil damage and breaking your own Sash, but that's my best guess as to what that's about. But yeah, with Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can run some coverage and some support like Taunt. Teammates were Ice Rider Calyrex, Kyogre, Alchemy, Female Indeedee, Ursaluna. That makes some sense to me in that I was thinking about Kyogre as a possible restricted partner because you have 2/3 of a Fire, Water, Grass core already then, and the grass coverage can be of some benefit to Kyogre. I do have a different idea, but let's finish looking through these first. Decorate, Room Service, Alchemy, Iron Ball, Kyogre. This is some serious Trick Room stuff. So I guess Ogerpon is just here to enable, to make sure they get the Trick Room up. So it can taunt things that are disruptive to the Trick Room. It has Follow Me so that the Trick Room setter can't be knocked out. And then probably you don't want or need Ogerpon to survive too much longer than that, so just throwing around big Woodhammers for the most damage you can get is fine. So that makes sense as a reason that that they ran that attack. In Utrecht, I see Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon again is the most used, then Hearthflame. Bologna is the only one so far where Hearthflame was the most used. Wellspring with 3 appearances. No Teal. And in Melbourne, Cornerstone most used once again. Bologna is an outlier at this point, though it is also the most recent of these events. Wellspring with 6 uses in the top 128. Alright, 2 each for Teal and Hearthflame. That's interesting. 2 Teal Mask Ogerpon. Looks like they were on very different teams. One of them is the same Kyogre Trick Room stuff again. The other... Shadow Rider, Zacian, Urshifu, Incineroar, Tornadus. That makes sense, because if the opponent tries to intimidate your Zacian, you get the Defiant boost on Ogerpon. I do like that. I'm going to look at Munch stats next, but it looks like the pattern that we're seeing here is that the most used Ogerpon form is usually Cornerstone, sometimes Hearthflame, and Hearthflame might be trending up now because it was the most used in the most recent event that we looked at. Wellspring is usually a solid third, but Hearthflame is a little bit all over the place, and then Teal is pretty consistently the least used, but I definitely am zeroing in on it as the one that's captured my interest right now. It's probably the one I've used least before, so that counts for something. They do all show up on Munch stats, but yeah, real difference in their usage here, as Teal Mask Ogerpon is at less than 1%, and Hearthflame is actually the most used, close to 10%. I think it's going to be Teal Mask Ogerpon. I think I really had my heart set on that a while ago, and I just wanted to look at the other options. I mean, Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon could be a lot of fun as well. But look at this, we get an item, we get Covert Cloak, or Eject Button, or Focus Sash. I don't know what I'm doing with an Eject Button. Loaded Dice is interesting. I guess some of them are running Bullet Seed. Does it get that? Yeah, Bullet Seed. That's cool. Common restricted partners, Miraidon, Ice Rider Calyrex, Kyogre, Zamazenta. Interesting, the one that I had in mind has not shown up yet. That's very interesting. It is in fact not on this list of common teammates. It's not my first thought. My first thought was Kyogre. But I have somebody else in mind. And I think it's time to go back to the team builder and get to work on it. The fact that none of the data support what I'm doing here suggests that it might be bad, but I want to give it a try. So we're going to clear these out. We are going to use Ogerpon to support a Calm Mind setter. Because here's the thing, I think that Lunala can potentially bait out opposing Incineroar and get a Defiant boost for Ogerpon, or alternatively, then Ogerpon can just attack, or alternatively, Ogerpon can use Follow Me to support Lunala, probably with a Focus Sash. And then Lunala can set up with Calm Mind or Trick Room or something. That was my second thought after Kyogre, and it feels a little bit more interesting. In that case, Ogerpon probably wants Ivy Cudgel, probably wants something to hit Incineroar. I think it gets Superpower, but of course that throws away the boost. It gets Low Kick, but I don't know if that's strong enough. This actually might be a problem with this idea. I could swear it got like Stomping Tantrum or something. It does get Stomping Tantrum. I do Stomping Tantrum. Follow Me, Spiky Shield. Lunala, probably want Calm Mind. I could do Zacian as the other restricted. I think that's fun. Again, I think that Ogerpon baiting out Incineroar is pretty valuable there. If I'm doing that, though, maybe I want to drop the Lunala stuff and I want to do like a Swordfish team. Zacian, Kyogre. And then Ogerpon can use its grass coverage to help Kyogre get past opposing bulky waters. Maybe I have to pick a lane here. The Zacian lane or the Lunala lane. Well, let me look at one other thing, actually. Let me look up Lunala on Munch stats. See what people are pairing that with for another restricted right now. Miraidon is the most common partner. Ogerpon could help Miraidon deal with ground types. He really could. Especially with some Terra ground users running around surprising me on the ladder these days. Miraidon. I could do a Lunala Miraidon team with Teal Mask Ogerpon. Yeah, and then I could run not Rillaboom. Why did I say Rillaboom? That came out of nowhere. I could run Ursaluna. And use Ogerpon to cover Trick Room setup if I want. Or just pair it with Miraidon and... I mean, their coverage is somewhat complementary, if not perfect. Do Electric Seed Lunala run Calm Mind, or are they just Trick Room stuff? There's definitely a danger here that I stretch Lunala's set a bit too thin. Let's look at Bologna, most recent event to look at. Lunala, Electric Seed. They don't run Calm Mind. But, I mean, the Bait-in Incineroar idea still exists. I guess there's a question of what I would drop to make a room. These all run pretty much all the same other Pokemon. I don't have to do this. I don't know, I'm starting to get a little indecisive. Or a little bit of decision paralysis, maybe. That's not great. I could go back to Kyogre Zacian stuff. I know how to build a version of that I like. I've done it a few times in this series. Focus Sash Ogerpon covering Trick Room setup. And it's still valuable for that, even if it's not Calm Mind Lunala. Let's just do this. Ursaluna. Presumably Specs Miraidon. That could also benefit from Follow Me support in some positions. Presumably Guts attacking Ursaluna. Electric Seed Lunala. This is the beginning of a decent mode right here. I probably want Tailwind, so probably want Whimsicott. I'm probably just making a strictly worse version of a good team by dropping either Incineroar or Shifu from it, huh? Is there another Pokemon that I can find to plug the holes, though? I need another... Do I need another fast offense option? I have the Ogerpon already. Maybe I need Incineroar support. I don't know. Alright, here's the best Electric Seed Lunala team from Bologna. The one that performed best, I should say. Choice Band, Rapid Strike, or Shifu. Well, if I'm getting Defiant boosts on Ogerpon, do I really need that? Maybe I just slap on an Assault Vest Incineroar to close this out. Then have I just turned Ogerpon into worse Urshifu? Not necessarily because of the support that it provides with Follow Me. Is there something better that I can do here, though? Incineroar's ability to mess with Balancy restricted cores is very valuable here. On the other hand, not having a fighting type isn't amazing when I keep running into Terapagos in best of one. I could do Iron Hands. Iron Hands could be fun. Alright, sure. Does it make the team a little slow? Kinda, yeah. I don't have to bring Tailwind. That could be what I drop from this. I could do like Incineroar and Iron Hands. Tailwind flexibility is nice, though. I could go back to Kyogre and Zacian. I really could. And you know what? I really think I might. Ogerpon Lunala stuff, though. I don't think the Ogerpon Lunala stuff is that good. I think Ogerpon punishing Incineroar coming in on Zacian is probably enough. If I go Kyogre Zacian, though, then I have other pieces for Incineroar, like Landorus and Kyogre itself. On the other hand, redirecting hits away from Kyogre to boost or to keep the strong Water Spout is very nice. What do I do, folks? This isn't live, you can't answer that. Single Striker Shifu. Gives me some Dark-type utility. Gives me fighting type coverage into stuff like Terapagos. Gives me some power. Something I can play nicely in Tailwind and sometimes Trick Room. I think single striker Shifu is going to be the solution. And I think I'm going to go ahead and flesh out the rest of the team now. Alright, that was harder than I expected, and maybe that speaks to why Teal Mask Ogerpon is seeing very little tournament play. I guess I did sort of make it harder than it needed to be by picking the least used form, but even before I went through all the stats, as I think is probably pretty obvious by now, I had kind of zeroed in on Teal Mask Ogerpon as the one that was the most interesting to me right now at the moment, and that had a lot to do with my lack of experience with it. So this is a series for experimenting sometimes. Let's see how it goes. I did go Choice Band, Single Striker Shifu in the end. A pretty ordinary sets on everything here, except the Ogerpon's held item. And the Stomping Tantrum thrown in to hopefully give Lunala some more coverage against Incineroar. That's the theory there. Maybe I could have just gone Superpower, because it hits harder, but I don't want to throw away the boost if I get it, you know? At least I don't think I do. This is a shiny Ogerpon, adorable, sadly won't get to use it. Here we go. This is probably a pretty reasonable team with just Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon, but anyway. Koraidon, Lunala, Indeedee, Whimsicott, Raging Bolt, and Entei. That's scary. Entei's a menace. Lunala should be pretty strong into this team, though. I could do, like, Miraidon, Whimsicott, Lunala, Ogerpon. Maybe I need Urshifu in this one. Urshifu's a little tricky to position, but it definitely could be valuable. Miraidon, Whimsicott. Does that mean Ogerpon is the odd one out, though? I think it does, and I think it's okay. I don't have to bring Ogerpon to every single game. I'm sure I'll find a use for it, especially when the opponent has Incineroar. Or even a Therian Landorus. You see some of those on the ladder these days. Didn't mean to do that. They lead Lunala Indeedee, so there goes my terrain immediately. Also, they're threatening Trick Room. Rough start, for sure. Let's Volt Switch out of here. If it's redirected to Indeedee, that's fine. Let's just set a light screen. Don't think I'm likely to need the Tailwind here, but we'll see. But cover against special attacks is definitely valuable. Helping Hand, is it just Expanding Force coming out? Shadow Shield broken. If it is Expanding Force, Urshifu won't be too bothered about that. It is. Okay, nice. Not so nice that I lose Whimsicott here, but I guess, well, I can either go Lunala or I can go right back to Miraidon. I like Miraidon, actually, because I have terrain control here. I'm going to Wicked Blow the Lunala slot, and I think I'll also Volt Switch the Lunala slot. But I could see Indeedee redirecting either or both of these, but I could also see Indeedee switching out to try to get terrain control back. Let's see. They were probably expecting Rapid Striker Shifu, and a little bit surprised when this switched in. But hey, it's doubling up on a couple of different rolls here. Volt Switch crit just knocks out Lunala, so now here's my Lunala, and we'll knock out Indeedee with a Wicked Blow, surely. Yep. Lucky me. And now they've got Entei, they've got Koraidon. I still have Shadow Shield intact. I think I go Miraidon here and I preserve Urshifu and I try to get Trick Room. Or is that too little too late? Well, live and learn. Let's see. It's Eruption Entei. Okay, I didn't see that coming. That breaks the Shadow Shield, but they Flare Blitz Miraidon. Doesn't even KO. I get Terra. I get Trick Room. They have Terrasilize already. I honestly had forgotten. I don't think this Electro Drift is going off, but this Moonblast certainly is. And the game ended, so perhaps I got the Electro Drift too. Yeah. Oh, it's Scarf Entei. Of course, it went before. Oh no, I switched Miraidon in last turn and I used Trick Room, so I had no way to know its speed. But now I know it's Scarf Entei, and that did not pay off for them. Scarf Eruption Entei is a funny tech. But Sacred Fire and Extreme Speed are just so good. It's a little hard to see that paying off. Also, you could probably just run like a Hisuian Typhlosion for that instead, right? Anyway. Ice Rider, Calyrex, Miraidon, Urshifu, Incineroar. They have an Incineroar. They also have Volcarona. That's pretty scary. They also have a Smeargle, and you know what? I have a Spore immunity with Follow Me, so that's another reason to bring Ogerpon to this one. Can I just lead me right on Ogerpon? Or do I need Tailwind? I don't think I need Tailwind. They don't have Tailwind. They might have Tailwind. But they might not have Tailwind. I could do Lunala Ogerpon, and then I have Fake Out immunity, Spore immunity. Go for Trick Room if the position is right. It's an awkward speed control game because this is going to be way faster than Lunala and this is going to be way slower. I don't even know that I want Trick Room in this game. In fact, I probably don't. That makes things a bit tougher, for sure. They DC'd. We'll see if they come back, but I need to pick my leads. I'm going to do Ogerpon Lunala. I have a hunch that it's probably not very good, but I think it's worth finding out. Oh, they're back. Nice. They lead Volcarona Calyrex. Yeah, the Volcarona is really not what I want to see here. I can Ivy Cudgel. Actually, I can Ivy Cudgel the Calyrex pretty safely because Ogerpon is immune to Rage Powder. I don't have to worry about that. Lunala can be redirected by Rage Powder, but let's see if they do it. They protect Calyrex. Is it Struggle Bug? Struggle Bug would be pretty bad, yeah. Alright, yeah, the Volcarona is just going to be hard to deal with. Oh, but I do get a Defiant boost on Ogerpon because of it. That's funny. But then how do I attack the Lunala, or the Volcarona? I don't really want to, I don't think. But I do now get a +2 Ivy Cudgel into the Calyrex slot, and a lot of these run Terra Water, so... Yeah, no wonder it doesn't want to Terrasilize. Unfortunately, that doesn't KO. I probably would have been better off clicking Wide Guard or Trick Room, but I didn't know that they were going to go for that. Because I'm in a difficult spot now where a lot of my Pokemon are kind of just... Glacial Lance food. But what I might be able to do is Spiky Shield and reverse their Trick Room now. Lunala has to take the Glacial Lance, which it does. They went Fiery Dance into Ogerpon. This is a bit risky because I could get Flame Bodied, but I think they protect their Calyrex here. No, you know what? I can keep up the pressure on Calyrex with Miraidon if I have to. Let's just Ivy Cudgel Calyrex. And Moongeist Beam Lunala again. Okay, they did... or Volcarona. Okay, they did protect. Is it Fiery Dance into Ogerpon? It is. They get the boost too. But again, I can get Miraidon in here. I probably have to click Dazzling Gleam to get around the Rage Powder. No, actually I don't. I can click... maybe I do. And I'm okay with it. Calyrex drops. Volcarona drops. Rage Powder was not helpful to them here. They get Incineroar. Incineroar is actually very threatening. So is Urshifu if it's Scarfed. I guess I'm willing to potentially sack my Urshifu to avoid getting Miraidon faked out. And I'll just go for a Moonblast into their Urshifu. I guess I'm never getting rid of the Struggle Bug drop on Lunala, but I don't think that's the end of the world. They do go for the fake out. It's not Scarf Urshifu. So it shouldn't be able to beat Miraidon. They can never get fake out pressure anymore because these are the last two Pokemon. I think I just, I was going to say Dazzling Gleam, but no, I think I just Electro Drift Incineroar. Because we know Lunala outspeeds Urshifu. You can just knock it out with another Moonblast. Yeah. There we go. GG. Got Ogerpon into this one. It didn't do a ton of work, but it kept up the pressure pretty nicely on their Calyrex so that even with the Rage Powder on the board, Miraidon could close that out and deny a second Trick Room. And then from there, my Restricted's outsped and won. So actually, Ogerpon, it wasn't flashy, but it did some significant work there. Are you serious? Why do they not have a sixth Pokemon with this? This is all they need, huh? Smeargle Muck. If I had a Zamazenta, I could just Heavy Slam. Because, pro tip, if you're a Zamazenta player and you run into one of these, Heavy Slam ignores Minimize boosts, and it also does boosted damage into a Pokemon that is used Minimize. Even then, though, I've been running Behemoth Bash lately instead of Heavy Slam. Why did they reject open team seats? Do they think I don't know what they're going to do? Alright. Interesting username, too. I'm actually not that well up on how to beat it, though. I do think I want to lead Miraidon, because I can deny spores with that. Let's do Miraidon Ursaluna. If they lead Smeargle Muck, I can try to get a big boosted Earthquake to deal with those. If it's like Terra Water Muck or something, then I can Electro Drift it. And yeah, there's no Spore available to them with Electric Terrain in place. I'll bring Lunala. I guess I'll bring Urshifu. Leave Ogerpon behind for this one. Ray Rizzo might be a little much for it to handle. So it is this lead. So what I'm looking to play toward here is, I think, Electro Drift Smeargle. Anticipating... Actually, maybe I just switch out. They could fake out Miraidon. Maybe I just hard switch to Lunala, and then I can Wide Guard Earthquake, try to remove the Muck. They could have Wide Guard on Smeargle. That's a flaw in this plan. But I'll try it. Follow me. Minimize. I still need to land the Earthquake. And I need them to not have Wide Guard, which I only kind of realized belatedly after planning this out. Yeah, I know what these teams do. I don't necessarily know the best way to play against them if I don't already have Heavy Slam. You can see I'm trying not to give Power of Alchemy to the Muck. I guess I could have just pressured... Okay. I guess I could have just taken a KO on Smeargle turn 1, actually. The way they were playing it. But then Muck does get moody. Well, they have to choose now between Wide Guard and Follow Me. Yeah, I figured that they would read a switch to Headlong Rush that turn. Unfortunately, I missed the Earthquake into Muck. Muck is now fully boosted. Here I'll Moonblast Smeargle and Headlong Rush Muck. I mean, we just have to play this now. It is what it is. The Muck got its boosts. Now it gets power. It gets moody. It has Substitute. It's faster than Ursaluna. Oh man, these teams. I know what they do, but I don't know how to reliably beat them, if I'm being honest. See if I can get rid of this Ho-Oh. Oh, of course it has Psych. I say of course. I didn't... These teams do run restricted Pokemon with Psych Up, but I didn't know that Ho-Oh gets Psych Up, if I'm being honest. I was wondering what Ho-Oh was doing on this team. I didn't know it could do that. They're getting speed drops from Moody, too, so is the Trick Room even that helpful to me? Well, at least they don't have defense boosts so far. We got a Spectator. I don't know if this is the game you want to watch. If this were on cartridge, I could be thinking about the timer. Maybe not right now, but further into the game. But it's Showdown. I don't think it works like that. They are taking their time with this turn, though. Of course, if I'd landed... If I had happened to hit Muck early on with an attack, then it would be a different game. Evasiveness boosts aren't... they're frustrating to play against, but they're not entirely consistent. Also can crit things with this, although that doesn't matter because they don't have defense boosts, they have evasiveness boosts. But, I mean... Well, let's see. Sacred Fire into Urshifu, it burns. That's okay, the Ho-Oh is actually kind of a nice tech because it can burn my attackers like that so reliably while still doing damage. Now, I get Miraidon in with my own Trick Room still on the board, so I kind of played myself with that. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, sometimes you're just unlucky. This game plays out very differently if I land a hit early on, but... That's why this stuff works sometimes. You're not always going to be able to do that. And I missed a chance to knock out the Smeargle early, and that might have made a big difference. I was looking for a way to knock out the Muck before the Smeargle, or at least at the same time, but I think You can't really do that. I think you just have to deal with the team for what it is. Was that the first or second loss of the video? I don't remember. Miraidon, Zamazenta, Volcarona, Champao, Incineroar, and Farigiraf. Hey, I guess I can't complain about losing to Ray Rizzo, right? Kind of the expected outcome. I kind of want to lead Ogerpon, Miraidon, so that if they try to pressure me with Incineroar, you know? Maybe I'd rather get my Tailwind up, but they could lead Farigiraf. I'll bring Lunala, and I could bring Urshifu to this one. I think I'd rather bring Ursaluna. It's great into Miraidon. It's good into Zamazenta if I get Trick Room up. It's not afraid of being burned by Volcarona. I think there's a very strong case for Ursaluna here. They lead Miraidon, Volcarona. Okay. This annoying stuff again. By which I guess I mean a Volcarona lead, because that other one was Calyrex Volcarona, not Miraidon Volcarona. I mean, Ogerpon can, if I want, go for Stomping Tantrum into Miraidon. Depending on the set, I can maybe outspeed it if I Terrestrialize, but I don't think that's worth it. I think I'd rather just hard switch to Ursaluna, actually. Electro Drift into Volcarona is risky because of the Flame Body. And a Volt Switch. They're faster, but they also Volt Switch, so I don't have to worry about a Dazzling Gleam or something here. They go Incineroar, they Intimidate Ursaluna. Don't quite KO the Volcarona, but that's good damage. I'll go Lunala here. It is leaving it open to Struggle Bug, but I can get Trick Room potentially. Which against Quiver Dance Volcarona is very nice. I think here, I was going to say Protect Ursaluna. Alternatively, I could switch it out, but I am going to Protect it in Trick Room. I'm going to go for the Trick Room offense with Ursaluna, even though it's burned. Maybe that's a mistake, but I see an opening. I don't want to just throw it away. Ursaluna is monstrously powerful. How bad is -1 attack? Not that bad. This Earthquake is pretty free if I Wide Guard. I think I might as well. Yeah, I'll see what this does. Terra Water Incineroar. That's less than I'd like, but they U-turn back. I guess it's Assault Vest Incineroar probably. Here's their Zamazenta. Here's their Incineroar again. Let's get Ursaluna out of here. Let's go Ogerpon. I can it's not the end of the world if I sack Ogerpon here. Let's Terrestrialize Lunala. Let's Moongeist Beam Zamazenta. Let's not let Lunala get one-shot by knockoff like that. The Body Press Ogerpon, it actually survives. They can knock it out with Incineroar if they want, but if not, this Ivy Cudgel is going to hurt. I should Spiky Shield, actually. No, I shouldn't. I want to get Ursaluna back on the field. They might read a Spiky Shield and choose not to attack Ogerpon. That would be kind of nice. Okay, they went for Flare Blitz into Lunala. It doesn't do too much into the boosted defense. And I get this Ivy Cudgel into Incineroar. Let's go. I don't think that crit was necessary, most likely. Here's their Miraidon. I can... that's probably going to be faster than Ogerpon. They might knock out Ogerpon with Zamazenta. Well, let's see if I can get a Stomping Tantrum into Miraidon. I'm down to try. Okay, Zamazenta's faster than Ogerpon. Nice. Heavy Slam doesn't quite KO Lunala. Electro Drift does KO Ogerpon, but now they're probably locked into that. So I can go my Miraidon. Electro Drift Zamazenta. I'll go for Trick Room. They probably won't let me have it, but I might as well try. But I think I win with Ursaluna anyway, once their Zamazenta's gone. Yeah. Yeah, they should be choice locked into Electro Drift. So Ursaluna just wins from here, and they forfeit. As pretty much expected. Nice. Ogerpon knocking out that Incineroar was pretty cool, huh? It's not been amazing on this team, but it's put in a bit of work here and there. I can't complain. This one's got Assault Vest Mirad on. This is just a good version of this team, isn't it? With Grimmsnarl and not Whimsicott. Maybe they're not running Whimsicott anymore, I don't know. The ones I looked at were. This actually looks like a nightmare to play against. I'm gonna do Ogerpon Mirad on lead again. I'm gonna bring Lunala and I'm gonna bring. We have open team sheets, so they know that I have single striker Shifu. They have Rapid, of course. I could bring Whimsicott. Give me a bit of speed control. Moonblast is actually pretty good into a lot of these. Alright, I'm down. Alright. Grimmsnarl, Lunala lead. Do they have wide guard? Probably yes. Definitely yes. I want to remove... What does Grimmsnarl have? Reflect, Spirit Break, Light Screen, Thunderwave. I want to get rid of Grimmsnarl if I can. Let's Volt Switch though, so we're not stuck on the field locked into Electro Drift. If I get both of these attacks off, then hey, Grimmsnarl only gets one screen. They miss a Thunder Wave into Ogerpon, lucky me. Narrowly survive a Volt Switch. I'll go Whimsicott here. I can click Light Screen. Get rid of this Grimmsnarl. It didn't set any screens. Went for Thunder Wave and it missed. Yeah, Tailwind's not going to be so valuable when they have their Trick Room up, but... I'm going to try to have Cudgel the Ursaluna. They probably protect to get their burn, but might as well try to take advantage while they don't have it. Actually, maybe they don't protect because I have Whimsicott on the field. I'm going to set Light Screen. That'll help me against Miraidon as well as Lunala. They do actually protect Ursaluna. They don't have Farigiraf. I can just Encore the Ursaluna now. And I still think it's worthwhile to Ivy Cudgel it. I switched it out. Okay. Get the burn, get out, avoid the Encore. That makes sense. That's smart. That Volt Switch doesn't do too much to Ogerpon. Thanks to the grass typing, we do at least break Shadow Shield. Ursaluna is a menace now. I'm going to Spiky Shield. I'm going to Moonblast Lunala. I'm thinking about clicking Tailwind next turn because it's the last turn of Trick Room, but yeah, I thought they might not let me. Maybe I should have actually clicked Follow Me there to preserve Whimsicott. That might have been a better play. I'll go my Lunala here. I can threaten a Moongeist Beam into their Lunala. I'm just going to click Ivy Cudgel into Ursaluna. They might decide that my Lunala is a more important target. If not, I get Miraidon after this, and I'm not locked into an electric attack. In fact, I probably want to go Dazzling Gleam here. They Terrasilize Lunala. They knock out Ogerpon. Yeah, running into the proper tournament version of this team was just a little bit much to handle, I guess. But that's okay. We're having fun, right? Are you having fun? I hope so. I think they have Wide Guard on the board still. I think I actually have to Draco Meteor their Ursaluna. Honestly, I don't think I Terra Fairy here. Not yet. I think I do it next turn. So I have a little bit of a mind game with their Miraidon. Assuming I do get rid of the Ursaluna here, and I might not. It's an uphill battle for sure. Ursaluna drops, but Miraidon is now stuck at -2 special attack. Their Lunala goes first and knocks out my Lunala. That's GG. I'm locked into Draco Meteor. I never beat their Lunala from here. So I'm not going to bother Terrastalizing because there's not really any point. We get some damage in their Miraidon. Missed the KO because of the lowered special attack. But yeah, that was tough matchup for sure. Didn't quite figure it out in the end. I think that's loss number 2. If I'm wrong, but we'll play to one more. Calyrex, Ice Rider form, Kyogre, Smeargle, Farigiraf, Mousehold, haven't seen one of those in a little bit, and Volcarona. A lot of frustrating support Pokemon on this team. Miraidon immediately You know, I just realized I've been talking up Ogerpon Spore immunity, but Miraidon kind of makes that a non-issue anyway. Well, whatever. Miraidon. Prevent Smeargle from sporing things. There we go, I got there. And this is not a fast team. I have speed advantage without Whimsicott until the Trick Room goes up. I think I bring Urshifu. I think I lead Urshifu. So I can Wicked Blow stuff. The Trick Room setters, specifically. I think I bring Ursaluna, so I have something strong in Trick Room if they do get it set up. I think I bring Lunala, because it's good Pokemon. And I think I leave Ogerpon behind. Well, so be it. They are leading Mousehold and Smeargle, which is just a menace of a duo. What on earth are they cooking here? I'm going straight for the Electro Drift and the Wicked Blow. They can redirect or fake out whatever they want. Population Bomb into Urshifu. That KOs if they get all the hits. Household's so fast. The Smeargle with the Follow Me pressure had me just... It gets a moody speed boost now. Had me just attacking. Well, here's my Population Bomb immunity. There's the Follow Me. At least it can't spore things. There's the Focus Sash. I guess they'll knock out Miraidon here. I just have to win with Lunala and Ursaluna, which is not impossible. Yeah, I just didn't know what to do against this duo. Also, I didn't expect to see this duo. I thought they'd be using one of them to enable Trick Room or something like that. I don't know what I would do in a game 2 here. I really don't. Probably should have put like Taunt on Ogerpon or something so this team would have a little bit more support built into it. I'm gonna protect and... I'm gonna protect and Trick Room. No, that is what I'm doing, but their Calyrex is probably slower than my... Oh my god. The Calyrex is probably slower than my Ursaluna, so it's probably a throw. They're just gonna knock out Lunala with Bite, even if I one-shot their Calyrex here, but... I don't know what to tell you, folks. This matchup just completely threw me off. Ursaluna did actually go after their Calyrex, though, so they're not at min speed. I know that because I'm not at min speed. They just Rage Powder here and they win. Yeah, GG. Alright, I didn't see that coming at all. They completely got me. That's fun, though. I am going to give Ogerpon at least one send-off game, but I do need to do a little bit of prep work first. So we'll make a quick cut here. Alright, it's my series. I make the rules here. I can bend them a little bit if I want. We're going to try this team. Play to one loss. Bring Ogerpon to every game. By the way, that Ogerpon-Lunala duo did basically nothing, huh? But, funnily enough, I realized as I was preparing this, actually would have been a pretty good lead into Smeargle Mousehold. But I didn't know Smeargle Mousehold was coming. They got me good with that. Alright. Miraidon, Zamazenta, Volcarona, Tianpao, Incineroar, and Farigiraf. That's a pretty scary team right there. Pretty hard to deal with. Let's go Torn Ogre lead. They don't have weather control at least. They do have potentially Wide Guard, but I have put Hydro Pump on this Kyogre instead of Thunder because I have somebody else to help deal with opposing water types. Am I leaving Zacian behind for Landorus in this one? I'm not. I could, but I'm not. They're both good into a lot of this team, and Zacian is just a stronger Pokemon. Landorus is very good though. No question. They can Sucker Punch Kyogre. They also can just make me sad with the Volt Switch. But I'm just going to go. I'm just going to attack. I'm just going to Origin Pulse and Tailwind. The Sucker Punch Kyogre, that's why I went Origin Pulse instead of Water Spout. Volt Switch Tornadus. That means Kyogre survives to attack again. Unfortunately, Zamazenta is here. I am locked into Origin Pulse, so I'm going to go to Zacian. Switch Kyogre out to Ogerpon. And Sacred Sword Zamazenta. I do want to get rid of this Champao. Well, they protected it this turn anyway, so just as well. They protect both. They kill a turn of my Tailwind. Let's get this Champao out of here if I possibly can. I'm just throwing attacks into things that Volcarona could easily deal with, but they didn't bring Volcarona to this game, so that's nice. They do get rid of my Intrepid Sword. They also Terra Water the Zamazenta. Kind of unfortunate that I didn't Ivy Cudgel that, as they gave Ogerpon a Defiant boost. They almost knock it out with a Body Press, but not quite. I'm going to Spiky Shield around a possible Fake Out here. I'm going to Sacred Sword Incineroar. Then I can Ivy Cudgel Zamazenta. I can even... It's maybe not the greatest use of my Terra, but I can Terrasilize Ogerpon. Make sure I outspeed things. You turn into Zacian. Are they going Miraidon? Because if it's not Scarfed, then it'll be slower than Zacian, than what Champao. Okay, so they're threatening Sucker Punch. Let's see what I can do about that. I can knock out Champao. Survive a Body Press, but now there's no Rain, and there's no Tailwind. And here's Miraidon again. But that should be slower than my Zacian. The problem is just, what do I throw at Zamazenta? I guess I just lock in a Hydro Pump here. Play Rough Miraidon. Get Scarfed. Okay, well. Playing to 1 loss didn't take too terribly long, huh? Let's see if Ogerpon can go down swinging. Finally Terrasilize Ogerpon in this video, and doesn't KO Zamazenta. Of course, that Ivy Cudgel boosted crit rate could have done it there, but what can you do? I guess the Miraidon Lunala team was better, even if the original idea for it didn't work out. Although maybe it could have in the right matchup, and I just didn't recognize the matchup when I saw it. Anyway, that was Teal Mask Ogerpon. I'm sure something can be done with it in this format. A couple people got okay tournament results with it supporting Hard Trick Room, but sadly, because it's such a fun form on paper, we did perhaps get a look here at why it's the least used Ogerpon. Ogerpon in general holds up better in slightly lower power formats than this, but it's still a fun Pokemon. I'm glad I got a chance to see what it can do. The Teal Mask form is definitely fun, just maybe not necessarily the best, and as always, back to the wheel next time to see what's next in the series.